people of Laventille. Kamla Prasad Misesa actioned a research program called Youth at Risk, which showed that if you, in summary, they said, if you fix Laventille, you fix Trinidad and Tobago. You fix Trinidad and Tobago. She commissioned that, but in 2015, Laventille voted her out. So Laventille has to fix that. Because what does Laventille mean? That they cannot vote for an Indian. Well, like my granny used to say, if the devil bring it, it's God who send it. It's God who send it. And right now, you are dealing with a prime minister. Right now, because your alternative to Kamla Prasad Misesa is Rowley, who is like that albino snake, the albino snake that bites the zookeeper when it's feeding him. Rowley bites the hand that feeds him. So you cannot go down that road and talk about who you're not voting for on the basis of race. So I want to ask the speaker if she has a little time to just go up to the HDC for me. And if she could find the official who fired Jolene John without any cause, and tell him the 9th commandment said, thou shalt not be a false witness against thy neighbor. And if she find the one, I want her also to find the one who just renovated his house in the Northwest for cash. A big house became a bigger house. And I also want her to find the official who goes to the cashier's cage, and then he takes the checks for certain contractors, and he goes to his office with the contractors, and he tells them, I better engage this. I better engage this. That's what he check. I wanted to tattoo on that one hand, the 8th commandment, thou shalt not steal. So tonight, all the ranting and raving of Rowley up in La Hokita, I mean, you don't take that on. You understand what I'm saying? Because today I saw the Express said, he said that no thief should run government. Well, I expect to hear tonight on the news, he resigned. He must have resigned. He must have resigned. I want that man to take a look at the man in the mirror and go to the president and resign. Because in Daniel 5:5, it says, many, that's a Hebrew, tekelu person. Rowley, the writing is on the wall. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you.
Live from the constituency of Chaguanas East, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Member of Parliament for Chaguanas East, Mr. Fazal Karim.
Thank you very much. Our esteemed political leader, and yes, it's only a matter of time, the next Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, Mrs. Kamla Prasad Misesa. Our Deputy Political Leader, Ms. Jolene John, Members of Parliament and of the Senate, Mayor, Councillors, Aldermen, National Executive, party supporters, brothers and sisters, let's send a resounding sound to the entire Trinidad and Tobago as we say to everyone here, welcome to the constituency of Chaguanas East. Last year, 1 year ago, the Prime Minister said the first constituency to be screened will be Chaguanas East. He said by Easter, we'll have a candidate. Well, we are waiting for that candidate because we are going to ensure that Chaguanas East remains with Mrs. Kamla Prasad Misesa and the United National Congress. Brothers and sisters, we need to send a message to the PNM a message with our index finger. I say, let us free Trinidad and Tobago from the shackles of punitive taxes. Let us free Trinidad and Tobago from the oppressive cost of living. Let us put the people of Trinidad and Tobago back to work again. Let us put life-saving medication and beds back in our hospitals. If you go to the casualty at Mount Hope Medical Sciences Complex, it will appall you to see how people are lying down on beds, sitting on wheelchairs. Is that what we want for Trinidad and Tobago? Let us restore confidence in our ailing economy. Let us make our nation safe again. I say, let us make our nation free from the scourge of crime. Let us restore the rising sun to the governance of Trinidad and Tobago. I believe that for all of us we will agree, it is time for the UNC to save Trinidad and Tobago. It is time for the UNC to rescue Trinidad and Tobago. It is time for the UNC to rescue Trinidad and Tobago from the multi-million-dollar landlords. It is time to fire Keith Rowley and his incompetent bunch of ministers. And it is about time that we return Mrs. Kamala Persad-Bissessar as the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. Brothers and sisters, I ask you the question, how since 2015, when things were going so well for us between 10 and 15, how did we get to this stage after 4 years of P&M? My brothers and sisters, we are in the greatest economic collapse in our modern history. We suffered negative growth of 6.1% in 2016. And guess what the IMF is telling us? The International Monetary Fund is telling us that we are projected for 0% growth in 2019. Do you know what that means for jobs? Do you know what that means for prices? Do you know what that means for the cost of living? Do you know what that means for medications? Do you know what that means for school books? That is the kind of governance we have from Pete Rowley and the PNM. This country has lost close to $3 billion TT in foreign direct investment in 2018. We are at $7 billion deeper in debt. That is $7 billion TT worth of debt for our children and our grandchildren to pay. We have a $4.2 billion worth savings disappeared from the Heritage and Stabilization Fund. We have consistently been downgraded by international credit agencies such as Standard & Poor's and Moody's. My brothers and sisters, but you must hear this one. I want you to pay close attention to what I'm going to tell you because we feel the pangs of hunger and thirst. We are at a 6% depreciation of the Trinidad and Tobago dollar to the US dollar. How do I say that? Why do I say that? Well, we moved from $6.43 in 2015 to $1 US dollar to $6.78 in 2019. On paper, consumers pay 6% more for every US dollar. However, the unfortunate reality is that consumers pay upwards of 25% in the black market prices because of the severe shortage of foreign exchange. What does that mean for us, ladies and gentlemen? It means for us, and it means for you, and it means for me, at 25% more for food, 25% more for your stoves, your washing machines, and your furniture, 25% more for school books and computers, 25% more for cancer and diabetes medication, 25% more for agricultural chemicals, 25% more for vehicles. And guess what? If you think it's we alone facing it, the foreign exchange crunch is so severe, at least they tell us that. We don't have to believe that the PNM's very own Pariat Fuel Trading Company cannot access foreign exchange after 4 years. Do you believe that? My dear brothers and sisters, after 4 years, where are we? We are over 55,000 jobs lost in the past 4 years. The Ministry of Finance and the Minister of Finance says that he plans to cut public expenditure by 25% more. Do you know what that means for us? More frustration, more job losses, more suffering for our citizens. We are experiencing a shortage of doctors and nurses and health professionals. Young doctors cannot get jobs. People cannot get beds, but yet still, you will not open the Couva Children's Hospital. We say open it now. We built it for a purpose. And I am sure you will all agree with me. Because for those of you on CDAP, you go to the drugstores, you cannot get CDAP medication, yet the Minister of Health is telling you, guess what he wants to do? He wants to convert the Couva Children's Hospital into a CDAP drugstore. Is that what we built? Is that what Mrs. Bissessa built? Let us give the praise and thanks to Mrs. Bissessa, the foresight and the vision for children. People still selling tulum and sugar cake and ice cream to raise money to do what? To get operation for our children who can't afford to get medicine and medical attention. I want to tell you, this is the worst government we have ever seen in the history of Trinidad and Tobago. My dear brothers and sisters, where are we now? We are at 18,000 people cut in the number of persons receiving food cards. Would you believe we are 30,000 persons who are unable to access the government assistance for tuition expenses? $30,000 persons less. And you know what this government has done? They have told you that if you reach age 50, you can't study no more under the GATE program. Under the previous government, under Mrs. Bissessa, we had the highest amount of persons who were accessing the GATE program. Over 55,000 people. A good education lands you a good job. We could talk about murders, over 1,800 persons. We now have a situation of migrants to our country. My dear brothers and sisters, that is the scorecard of Keith Rowley and the PNM. Do you want to put them back in government again? I ask you the question. I am telling you about all the promises they made, and they have never kept. They promised that they will increase oil production from 85,000 barrels a day. The central bank tells us that we are now down to 59,000 barrels a day. They told us that they were going to open the Tamana Intech Park and the Piaco Aero Park. Well, I want to tell you, no Tamana Park, no Aero Park. They talk about wind and solar energy, not a windmill. The only windmill you get is what we used to buy for Christmas and things, and it's like a zwill. Not even a wind turbine. But you know we talk about agriculture. This current Prime Minister was once a Minister of Agriculture. And you know what he said? He promised that he will introduce the Prime Minister's Award for the best kitchen gardening school to promote agriculture production. Well, I want to tell you, under this Prime Minister, not even a red bean could go in a Styrotex cup. The PNM promised the growth in tourism. What we have? The sea bridge closed down. The air bridge on collapse. We have the firing of the Tourism Development CEO. They promised a sports institute, no sports institute. They say that financial institutions will help small business. What help you're getting? You're getting more hardship. They promised that this will be an international financial center, and they spoke about Latin America and the Caribbean. Only talk, only rhetoric, no action, only mama guy. They talk about a maritime facility that will be in La Brea. Only talk. And you know what? Of all the talking about what they promised, they're going to finish schools. We call upon the government of Trinidad and Tobago, led by Keith Rowley, open the UWI campus now in South Trinidad. And build and continue, open all the schools. And I say in the presence of all of you, we are calling upon the Minister of Education. He's answered a question from me as your MP about the Oasis Egypt Primary School. I asked him, when will it be completed? He said, we're going to complete it this year. I said, what date? He said, before the 31st of December 2019. Well, I want to tell you, send a resounding voice to him. Open that school, or else we're going to make you open that school in 2020. The truth is that the PNM has no vision. They have no plan. But I want to tell you, Before I conclude, I want to tell you what we have to face in the parliament on a daily basis. During the debate on the Revenue Authority, the Minister of Health, the member for St. Joseph, got up and said that the University of the West Indies support the Revenue Authority. I have the name that he called, I have it on hand side here, and the name that he called is a lecturer called Shelley-Ann Wilson. And this person is writing in her personal capacity to say that she, while she supports the Revenue Authority, she has some reservations. This is what our leader and us have to put up with. The lies, the half-truths, and the innuendos. And I'm reading from the Hansard. This is what the member for St. Joseph, the Minister of Health, says. Madam Speaker, this is just a sample of two independent learned institutions, AmCham and UWI, pledging support. I want to tell the Minister that this letter clearly says that I, the lecturer, pledge my support. This is not a communique from the University of the West Indies. All communications officially from UWI comes from the marketing department. And therefore, I also want to tell you, these are the sorts of things that we have to go through. As I conclude, I want to say very clearly that as a member of Parliament for Chaguanas East, I will continue to stand up and represent you. I want to continue to promote all of these courses free of charge so that we are going to create job opportunities for our people, so that we'll make you more marketable, so that we'll make sure that you can help your family. I want to tell you as well, that we will be starting, I'm going to go to the companies in this constituency and ask them to start what I am going to design as called worker productivity schools, where you learn right where you work so that you'll be able to produce more and create more jobs and become more profitable. I want to tell you as well, I make this commitment to you that we also promise that the community center at African Grounds will start. I make this commitment to the people of Chaguanas East, and in particular enterprise. We are going to start the construction and the building of a trade school. And if that trade school is not completed before 2020, I will ask my Prime Minister to ensure that we continue and we complete that trade school for the people of Chaguanas. And therefore, as I conclude again, I want to tell you, we are going to be having programs how to manage your small business. We are going to start on a measure, on a program to register at least 250 businesses in this constituency. We're going to give you your call cards. We're going to help you in your pamphlets. We are going to help you to create your jobs and lead a sustainable life. But I want to tell you, as we go, I want you to raise your finger at me and say, we are going to vote out Keith Rowley and the PNM. Long live the United National Congress. Long live our political leader. We are going on to victory. I thank you.
let's rise and welcome the UNC political leader, senior counsel, and the next Prime Minister in 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Kamla Prasad Bisesa at the Shogunas East Special Monday Night Forum.
Thank you all very much. Thank you so much. Thank you all for turning out in your numbers. I used to come on the platform and say, UNC family, which I think is great because that way I don't have to name every person. That takes up time. And someone told me over the weekend, well, you're not speaking only to the UNC family, you're speaking to all of Trinidad and Tobago. So tonight, Trinidad and Tobago, good night. Good night. Because wherever you go, whomever you speak with, the environment that you find yourself in, you can know and you can feel that the change is going to come. The change is going to come. So MP Fazal and your team, Mayor of Chaguanas and your team, thank you for the hard work. Members of the NATEX put in a lot of work to have this great meeting tonight. So join me in saying, I say, look at people. Look at people. Let's look at people. And as Jalen told us, some other people had a family day over the weekend. They said that was looking more like a wake than a family day. We have more people here tonight than they had. So something is happening. Something is happening. John in the house, we welcome you. Thank you. Chaguanas East in the house, we welcome you. Chaguanas West and surrounding constituencies. Now, over the last several days, your party has been engaged in the local government screening exercise. Some people say it's a screaming exercise because the competition is so tremendous. And so many people have come forward to put their names. Young people, not so young people, people from all classes, all creeds, all race, all religion. And I can feel the strength in the diversity of the people coming forward. And that's what is interesting. As we sat up at the Tunapuna UNC regional office, was that so many people are outside waiting to be screened. And they're also laughing and talking and waiting, and one comes in, one goes out, one comes in, one goes out. And the thing is, there's no hostility and there is no anger. They're all still members of our great party, and I was very impressed with that. Very impressed. And I ask that when we make the choices, that love will remain and we stay united together to beat the real enemy politically, and that is the PNM. And you know, I heard Mr. Rowley over the weekend on the front pages, what they're saying, look at him. What did he say? And this must be one of the few times I agree with Mr. Rowley. He told the country that thieves cannot run Trinidad and Tobago. He told the country thieves cannot run Trinidad and Tobago. So I say to him, call the election now. Call the election now. Call it now. So I'm telling you about the screening. People are coming, sharing our values, sharing our vision for a better TNT. And it is clear that we are on the move, we are building, we are growing, and we are ready to bring back good governance to TNT. And that is why the PNM is running scared. And it's with good reason. They are frightened, yes. It's the same word, scared and frightened, what? They're totally afraid, as Trini said. And that is why it's good reason. They're seeing the thousands of people from every walk of life coming together ready to work for a great country. For 4 years, you and the people of our nation have suffered. We have watched as food prices have continued to skyrocket, cost of living going up with each day. We have watched as thousands and thousands of people are being sent home from their jobs. Thousands, unsure of the future of themselves and their families. We have watched as the price of fuel was increased and increased. And this is a short man say, they ain't riot yet. Well, it's coming, not the riot, but the change is going to come. We are going to vote you out. We are going to vote you out of office. We have watched as children are being denied life-saving surgery. I had promised you in 2010, and we kept that promise, that should you put us in office, I will create a children's life fund in the law, so you don't have to hold cake sale and bake sale and tulum sale in order to get the life of your child in safety. They have denied so many children, and one great tragedy is while they were waiting for an advice from Faris, all worried, to advise whether the child would qualify for the life fund. You know what happened? The child passed away. Passed away. Well, he's too busy, I guess, to give the legal opinion he was and still is. Too busy renting out buildings. I've told you he's more than the $1 million man. He's the $100 million man now. So he could not give that legal opinion. Today, the life of that child, the blood of that child is on his hands. It is on his hand. Wicked. Not caring. They don't care. They don't care. And they're living through. They are living through now, as we are living through in this country, the trauma of violence from the criminals. They grow more bold-faced every day, these criminals. We learned of the murder of one of this country's very talented and famous actor, playwright, producer. A man, you know what his job was? His job was making people happy through his plays and his comedies. I speak of actor, playwright, producer Raymond Chukang. His voice was silenced today. He was a true pioneer and innovator. He will always be remembered as one of our country's most gifted artists. Today, he was found stabbed at his home in Arima. I was shocked and saddened to learn of this. I joined with his family, and we joined with his family. You know, in the morning, this local icon was being taken away much too soon. You know, today we also learned that the body of 24-year-old Chris Rivers, a young woman, she was reported missing, beautiful woman, young woman. Her body was discovered today. And you know what has happened in the last 18 hours? 8 people have been murdered. 8 sons and daughters of our country in the last 18 hours, man. And whilst the Prime Minister will find time to play golf and to insult everybody, every time he speaks, he insults somebody else. He will not come and tell the country what are his plans. What are the plans of his party? When you listen to parents, I heard it on the news as the parents who lost their children. These people are really heartless. They are heartless. Tell us nothing, nothing. I want to remind you, under my watch, we brought serious crimes to the lowest ever in 31 years. I remind you that. I remind you. Jillian told you, and she's right. Their answer is not to help you, you know. Their answer is to bring legislation in the parliament to lock you up, lock up everybody, but they will not look at the real ways in which to deal with crime. And I'll spend a few minutes of some of our plans. But you can't lock up the whole population. You have to invest in the young people of Trinidad and Tobago to create talent, skill, and give them jobs. That's what you have to do. That is what you have to do. So in the last 18 hours, 8 people wiped out. Our condolences go out to those families. In addition to those two I mentioned, Justine Davis, Carnage, Nikolai Mauler and La Romaine, Shamaki Wickham, Salim Peters, Damian Granger, Nicholas Nero. And I have no joy in thinking that even as we are speaking here, more might be happening. Because that's how it's going down. Families, we share your grief at this time. And it is a frightening space we've come to. They've done nothing in 4 years. And what you didn't do in 4 years, you cannot do in this last few months that you have. So guess what? Call the election now. Call the election now. This government's answer to the solution for crime is what? Throw up hands in the air and say, that's not me. Wasn't me. Not for me. That's for the TTPS. Well, you're wrong. You are in charge. It is a job for you to give the guidance and the leadership and the resources to the police. But you cannot wash your hands like Pontius Pilate and say, not me, not for me. You cannot do that. That's what they've been doing. And so I will share with you some thoughts. And if you have others, please send them to us. We will work to create a safe and secure place and space for our citizens. This is a priority. And when we return to government, we will work with the TTPS. We won't say it's your job. We will work with them. That's what we have to do, to roll out our plan to improve, first of all, crime prevention. You can't solve crime and deal with crime after the fact only, which is where this government is at. They're just waiting. They want to lock you up and throw you in jail with no bail. No bail. Take all the young people and lock them, throw them in jail with no bail. That is their answer. But for 4 years, that's what they've been preaching, and it is not working. It is not working. So you have to start with crime prevention. You can't wait till after the crime. Just say, "Oh, we catch you now, we're going to put you in jail." And that's another problem by itself. The crime prevention, what are the crime prevention methods? What are the crime prevention methods? One of the most important things in crime prevention, as I said it earlier, has to do with creating opportunities for young people. We did it, you know, when Jill and John and Mulilal and we set up the Color Me Orange program. You all remember that? Anybody remembers? Yes? That was part of the prevention, that we'll put the young people in some jobs. But in addition to that was the work that was being done in the Ministry of Education and in the ministry led by MP Fasal Karim. The number of training programs we had created. We said if you want to train as a technician, as a hairdresser, as a welder, all the skills, because not everybody could go and do academic subjects and go UE and whatever. You need people with skills to do the jobs. So we had both streams going in, the tertiary level at the UWI, but we also had the skills training program. I wonder if you remember, it was Fazal Karim who said that you could go from cutting cane to flying planes. We had set up those programs to allow people, young people interested to go and learn to fly a plane. It's not impossible, you know. The plane came down, it was parked up right here somewhere in Camden Field. One big plane, I don't know where it is now. It's there, FedEx. It's still there, I'm still there. But they're not training anybody to fly it. We put you in. We said, look, if you're a hairdresser, you're a beautician, you are a seamstress, dressmaker, by the way. I learned to sew very well. I used to sew all my clothes. It's a good skill to have. And you have the skill, but you don't have a piece of paper. So when you go somewhere, they say, hey, where's your certificate? That was another program we did that you could come in, we'll test you and certify you. And if you're not up to mark, well, first, good enough, take your certificate and go get a job. If you were not good enough, guess what? We'll train you for a while, give you the certificate and go. Those were all the programs which are now shut down. All the NESC programs, all the MIC programs, a lot of training programs for young people. What am I talking about? Education, yes, but what am I talking about? Helping to prevent crime. Helping to prevent crime. So crime, I'm telling you, and tell them that. They come into Parliament and want to buff the UNC because we will not support their draconian measures. All they want to do is lock you up, you know. They want to lock you up. They want to go to Laventille and beat up and do what? Lock you up. And when they finish lock you up, no bail. No bail, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So prevention, I've shared some with you. You come to prevention, but you have detection. The detection rates are so low, they talk about lock up people and jail them. Up to now, tell us how many, this anti-gang law they wanted to bring, how many people they put in jail and found guilty. They can't even find out where the crimes are happening. And then we have to have rehabilitation, you have to have conviction. The justice system is a shambles. Faris come and he talks about a suite of legislation. He has a suite of legislation. He has a suite of legislation. Yeah. Passing law every day in the Parliament, but they have no will and no competence to implement the laws they're passing. So you pass all this law, and you still cannot get the justice system off the ground up and running. So cases are taking years and years and years. And then rehabilitation. When people come out after serving their sentence, you must have programs to help them to become again a citizen who is contributing and doing well. So we also have plans, as I say, to deal with hotspots, to create safe zones, to reintroduce community policing, to ensure police presence, traffic management, and other actions to have a systematic reduction in crime. We will provide resources to rebuild trust between law enforcement and the community. You know, there was a time when the officer, the policeman, was known to the village. There was a great respect for the police officer. And there was even, a sense of fear. When you see a policeman, you know what to do. Disciplined and well-behaved. And that was integrated with community members as mentors, elders. The policeman had a pride of place. And as citizens, there was this respect. Today, that is not the case. So we must bring back those community policing measures. We propose to introduce community and village coordination officers programs, where officers return to walk and talk with members of communities. They must only come toting big gun. That's not the only time that you come. You come before, you meet the communities, you interact with them, you help them along the way, the troubled ones, you guide them. Again, this government's approach is a big gun, strong arm approach. After the fact, after everything done, they now come with the big gun to point in your face. And hello, after they point it in your face, you're not sure if you're going to walk out alive. So we have to get other measures. We cannot brutalize our citizens in a way and work unfair. This government is working unfair, bringing draconian legislation and programs because people are afraid. So they play on that fear because everybody wants to be safe. They play on the fear and feel that they can fool all the people all the time. They can't. So these are some measures. There are others. We will also have with our programs something I call the integrated technology backbone. You know, today cannot do anything without technology. Integrated technology backbone to ensure two-way flow of communication between police and citizens. We believe a fundamental principle of modern policing is that policing is a two-way street, and citizens are more likely to listen if they are heard. These are some programs, and above all, we must have more boots on the ground. Police presence, more boots on the ground. Medium-term solutions, I come back again, they have to be with invested in people, the education and the training, tackling the root causes of crime, poverty, inequality, lack of opportunity for young people, those are causes of the crime. We will build on the programs we started during the 2010-15 period, and of course we will build on those and go further into the technology. Today drones are being used all over the developed world to help in the fight against crime. We are such a small country, and a crime will take place here and everybody say crime take place. And years will pass and we can't find the perpetrator, the criminal. That can't be right, can never be right. Another part of our initiative will include using the UWI to train our protective services. We can train our police and so on to obtain certificates, diplomas, undergraduate, postgraduate programs. And above all, we will have a dual-purpose training facility for forensic sciences. Very important for the detection of crime. There are other points that we can do, and we roll out some more plans in the fight against crime. We will build sustainable and fulfilling careers for those in the services. And of course, we will also use what is available, legislation, to wipe out corruption in the protective services. A special court to deal with corruption in the public service. The rogue element is the greatest hindrance to any administration wanting to fight criminals. A special unit with local and international special investigators and prosecutors will be established to investigate and prosecute persons involved in corruption in the protective services, in police, in prison, army, regiment, and of course in public life as a whole. So as I say, that's the long-term community-based approach, a deeper policy program targeting crime prevention and community engagement. We will seek to initiate a major cultural change where we move the police from a command and control warrior. We move police from being command and control warrior, the big gunman, to a partner and guardian mindset. This is what we have to do to develop that mutual respect. Of course, we have to take steps. We have to take steps to fill all the vacancies in the protective services. And again, those are jobs. We need to create jobs. Those are jobs as well. We need to fill those vacancies. And you know, we bought a lot of naval assets. They come and they complain all the time, Kamala, cancel the OPVs, cancel the OPVs. These OPVs would have been way out in the ocean. They could not really patrol our shores. And instead what we did, we got the smaller vessels, call them LPVs, long-range patrol vessels, instead of offshore patrol vessels. But they have them parked up down at Starbers Bay. They won't even buy fuel to put in the vessels. They just have them parked there. They will not operationalize these naval assets, but come to cry every Monday or Tuesday morning. But we stop the OPVs. Well, bring on the other vessels. We bought, under my watch, 12 naval vessels. This is the first time in I don't know how many decades that naval vessels were bought for the Coast Guard under our watch. Bring them on and use them to close our borders. Now, they say all kinds of things about the government island. They tell us they thief out the treasury. Yes? Tonight I had a list there and I want to know, they say treasury empty. I want to know how they did all these things with an empty treasury. Paintings for $3 million. Treasury empty. Soca on the seas for $0.45 million. They buy a Benz for 2 million. They paid a financial sexual harassment for 3.5 million. Treasury empty, you know. A phone call to Trump cost 16 million because they hired a lobbyist, and the lobbyist they had to pay him, and they get one phone call with Trump. And after that, they're cussing Trump every day. At Taruba Stadium, which was far more, they added a 130 million, treasury empty. Spending on the Red House for 40 million, treasury empty. Ambulances, 600 million, treasury empty. Buko Estate for the failed standards project, 174 million. Treasury empty, you know, boss. Toilet paper factory loan, 30 million. Treasury empty. Trade union hush money, 15 million. Shamfa's roadman bill, 59,000. Darrell Smith romping weekend in Tobago, 92,000. Petrotrin strike, 4 million. Ernest and Young audits, 20 million. Treasury empty, yeah? PwC audits, 10.5 million. House in Tobago, 20 million. Jazz Festival, 12 million. Curup interchange himself to himself, building on his own land, $400 million. Golf Course North, 3 million. Golf Course South, 0.25 million. Treasury empty. Treasury empty. Fed match to open Brian Lara Stadium, 2.5 million. Fake oil in the Prime Minister's best friend, $100 million. And you want to talk about corruption? You want to talk about thief can't run what? Trinidad and Tobago, man. Fake oil, shut down Petrotrin, thousands on the breadline. Shut down Petrotrin to save your friend because you want to hide all the papers there. Cabo Star mobilization, 13 million. Ocean Flower 2 mobilization, 20 million. Repairs to TT Spirit, 60 million. Hilton swimming pool, 7 million. President's house restoration, 107 million. And more, and counting. You get the point? And all this money spent, and are you better off today than you were in 2015? Are you better off? Are you better off today? Answer has to be no. So, treasury empty. Left treasury empty. But listen, guys, we can account for the money we spent when we were in government. I always tell you, you can see it, you can touch it, you could feel it, you could smell it, and even want you could taste it too. So tonight I ask you to look at the video on the screen of how we spent our money and some of our achievements. Well, they say a picture paints 1,000 words. And those were some achievements. There are many more. Time will not permit, but we'll share with you. Picture paints 1,000 words. Everything is a time. So I thought we would share achievements because they keep talking about treasury finished, money done. But at least we could show you the projects. I know they cannot show you anything. They have not built a single school in their 4 years. They have not built a single thing in their 4 years. But the one thing they are very good at is to take away from you. And tonight they've been sharing with you. Yeah. That's the one thing they're good at, and they are very good at telling lies. You're correct. So my friends, try as the PNM might do, the Rowley PNM, they cannot convince people that the government I led did not work. We made significant strides in just 5 years. And I want you to remember, PNM was there for what, 47 years, you know. We had a stint for 5 years and so much was done. Can you imagine if you were to give us another 5 years, how much more work that we can do and any more achievements that we can make? And by the way, the song that was played in the background for the video, when you go home you could Google it. It is a song by a young singer, his name is Nick Jonas, and the song is Jealous. I played for you all because I know Rowley just jealous. They're just jealous. So what has happened? Whilst we were growing, whilst we were developing, whilst we were giving and helping, when we look at the record of this Rowley government now, it is a very dismal record. On a record card, others have shared with you some of the things they did not do. Some things that they did but did not benefit you. I've said that a government of many F's, and that includes failures. So friends, family, finances, forests, and failures. You remember they had 6 game changers. And, well, of course you don't know because they never carried through on any of them, so let me remind you. The 6 game changers turned into 6 failures. 6 failures. Let's count them. Dragon gas, game changer, what happened? Failed. Sandals, I said scandal, sandals, failed. Labre dry dock, high and dry, failed. Restructuring Petrotrin, failed. In fact, they shut it down and sent everybody. Sea Bridge, failed. They destroyed the Sea Bridge. Those were their game changers. 6 they had. The only game changer there is now for the people and the country of Trinidad and Tobago is to call the election and for them to move out, move out, move out. I spoke about the Commission of Inquiry. I'm not going to waste my breath on that anymore. Let's just summarize what that is about. That is a political pappy show to parade people on your TV from morning to night, to make all kinds of allegations. It is what they call a fishing expedition, or fishing, both fishing and fishing, okay? Expedition. It means they have nothing, and this is just to come to a nasty people name. That's right, they got no fish there. I give you that assurance. And so that's what is a puppy show. They run it out there. I've called it a Young and Rowley show. One editorial talked about it as a wasteful political spectacle. For 4 years, they cannot deliver you basics. They cannot improve your quality of life, but they want to spend millions of dollars in this witch hunt, in this fishing expedition, as you said. And bring it on, I said. If anybody did wrong, let the law take its course. My hands are clean, and my heart is pure. I have no fear of them, none whatsoever. None. But I would like them to consider A commission of inquiry on the fake oil scandal, the best friend, the 100 million. Where is the commission of inquiry for how a cabinet minister was approved millions of taxpayers' dollars to rent his and his family property? Where is that commission of inquiry? Where is the commission of inquiry into how the financial services company, run by the brother of the all-purpose minister of everything, received millions in commission for contracts from state companies? Where is the commission of inquiry into the shutting down of Petrotrin? Where is the commission of inquiry into how the sea bridge collapsed? About how a contract was awarded for the ocean flower? Where is that commission of inquiry? Where is the commission of inquiry into how the children of a government minister came to be toting high-powered guns? If that was your child, he get locked up. Where is the commission of inquiry into allegations that a woman was given taxpayer-funded settlement after she exposed sexual harassment alleged by a government minister? Where is that? And where is that report? Up to today, we cannot see that report. Where is the report of the CLICO Commission of Inquiry? So what's the point of inquiries when you hide the report? And above all, I think we really have to see where is the Commission of Inquiry into what happened to more than $229 billion they have spent over the last 4 years. Where the money gone? Where the money gone? My friends, the people of TNT have had enough. Fake emails, fake accusations, fake leadership, fake government. I say again, the country needs a real government. Call elections now. Call election now. We saw last week Standards and Poor downgraded Trinidad and Tobago from BBB plus to BBB. Before that, Moody's downgraded us to almost to junk status. Standard and Poor downgraded to almost junk status, and Moody's to junk status. Now, I want to ask a question. Where is the IMF Article 4 inquiry? We are in the month of July, and by now, the IMF would be here conducting their review, IMF Article 4 review, and then will present a report of the status of our country. I call on the Minister of Finance to tell us if he has not invited the IMF Article 4 people to come for the consultations because he's afraid of what that report will show with respect to our economy. The government has to invite them to come. They have been coming for the last donkey years to do that review as an international review agency. I call on the Minister of Finance and the government to tell us whether they have not invited the Article 4 people for the consultation. That's very important, because that Article 4 review is going to help us as we plan forward what needs to be done. So when we get downgraded by Standard and Poor and so on, the Prime Minister, Minister of Finance, everything great, don't worry, we're stable, turn around. We can see clearly now, you know, all the rain is gone, blah, 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 blah. Everything, spin, except what are their plans to lift us out of that downgrade. No plans, no program. I want you to see for yourself tonight on the screen how the Minister Franklin Khan describes how a downgrade affects the country. Remember, we are downgraded by 2 already. Check what Franklin Khan has to say.
And when you get downgraded, immediately your interest rates goes up. Mr. Young, am I right? Correct? Even for loans that you have already negotiated, you know. Not new loans, you're going to pay higher interest, so, you know. Loans you have already negotiated at 7%, it will go to 9%.
Smiley. He says when you are downgraded, what happens? Interest rates go up, even with loans we already have. This government has borrowed almost $21 billion more in the 4 years they've been in the country. So you know what's going to happen with all of that? Yes, Smiley telling you, interest rates goes up. What does it mean? Taxpayers, you Your children after and your grandchildren, they are mortgaged up to the neck by the loans taken by this government and the failure to kickstart the economy so that the interest rates keep going up. Another day I'll tell you how much money Trinidad and Tobago has to pay every month just for interest payments, not even for debt repayment. I'll tell you another day. So the economy is doing very badly. The crime situation is very bad. The healthcare sector is very bad. But there is always hope. God is always great. We can put God is great, and we can put God in front, and we can walk behind as we take over to manage our country. And these are some of the plans. The PNM has mismanaged and failed in managing our affairs in the country. We know that the first task we'll face, in addition to dealing with the crime, is bringing our economy back into a sustainable growth path. We will have to start with that diversification process. And these are some of the things I will share tonight as we continue to roll out our national economic transformation plan. Remember? Our national economic transformation plan. Listen, we have a plan. We were there before. We delivered, and we can do it again. And we will do it. So we will create conditions. We will create conditions to encourage entrepreneurship, business investment, and job creation. Very important for our economy. We can do that by making computer technology and software development core parts of the education syllabus at all levels. We must prepare to survive the digital economy. That is why when we were there, I was giving our children the laptops to prepare them for the digital age, because that is where the jobs will be. We have to go back to that. In addition, we will lower corporation taxes over the next 5 years. Overtaxation of a business, especially if it's a small business or a medium-sized business, will slow growth, okay? It will strangle innovation, and it will go so fast to shut down your business. Overtaxation. We will reduce, I gave the example, and I'll share it with you tonight, what Trump has done in the United States. Trump, you know the corporation tax in the United States is lower than Trinidad, eh? Lower than Trinidad. Trump reduced those taxation rates to increase businesses, small and medium and so on. And huge businesses who had relocated to other parts of the world because those jurisdictions had lower tax and cheaper labor, they're relocating back to the United States. They're bringing back business, and therefore more jobs are being created in the U.S. as we speak. One way was to lower corporation tax so businesses will survive and they could continue to employ people. You overtax people, what happens? Business start to go down. Next step, what you have to do? Fire people, because you can't afford to keep the business going. Further, we reduce the cost of doing business, which is directly linked to creating jobs in the private sector. We will propose no property taxes on plant and equipment, land and building of local manufacturers. And so again, reduce the cost of doing business so you could run a small business, a medium business, or a big business, make your money, and employ people, create jobs. We will deregulate and simplify the processes for environmental clearances and approvals for new and existing business. You know, if you overregulate all these processes, it increases cost, your startup, and of course your time to set up a business. So if you have to get EMA approval, you have to get approvals for your lands and so on. You're taking 6 months, a year. By the time you set up that business, the business shut down already. So we have to deregulate and simplify the processes for setting up businesses. We will have to work to remove red tape related to business development and statutory approvals and legal affairs at WASA, at T&Tech. And listen, all this thing about paying, what is called it? a smalls, there's a name for it, you might remind me. You had to go Wassa to get a connection, the fellow wants something. You had to go Tech, he wants something. All of that we will have to wipe out and make that simpler and transparent. BIR, Customs, EMA, Town and Country, Building Inspectorate, we must put them under a common quality management system to make it easier for you to do business in TNT. And don't think it's not you, the small man, you know. For the economy to really grow, it will not grow simply by big business, no. I remember a great economist in our country, his name was Lloyd Best. Anybody knows his name? Professor Lloyd Best. He always said that the microeconomy is one that grows the macroeconomy. What he was saying is that each household, as each household does better, the whole economy, it rises. Yeah? When the water rises, all the boats in the pond rise. So we must make it easier for small people to do business. It mustn't just be for big people to do business. I made the point again, the macroeconomy, the household, you must be able to engage in business activity. We will try to reduce the cost of exports. Exports are very important because they bring in foreign exchange. So locally manufactured goods, and you know what is locally manufactured goods? Don't feel it's some big thing up there, you know. You could make it. You could make guava cheese. Yeah? You could make tulum, you could make pepper sauce. You could make things with pineapples. I talked about agriculture. We can manufacture those on small scales. That's how everybody starts. Small, small, and then you grow. And you can export them. I am told almost every pepper you could grow, you could get it sold in the United States. Did you know that? Did you know that? So don't sit down and feel when I talk about making the cost of exports cheaper, I am talking about big business. I am talking about every small, medium, and big. That's how we will all grow together. We will do that helping to reduce export costs for locally manufactured things by hiring more customs personnel to increase efficiency. So when you have 2 baskets or whatever, or 10 baskets, or 50 boxes, it mustn't sit down on the port. We must increase the efficiencies there to get it off. You're making pepper sauce, I tell you, peppers will sell. Think about it. Investing in port infrastructure, increasing the number of bonded areas offside the port to free up space for exporters. Above all, I'm back to the technology. Installing a 100% digital infrastructure, removing this paper-based system back into the technology to reduce inspection, documentation time, move the process from hours and days to have it done with a click of your mouse on the computer. There are so many things we can do that does not demand billions of dollars. These are some of the plans. And therefore, as I started doing 2010, 2015, we had new and enhanced trade agreements with right next door in South America. They have a market of over 600 million people. We have 1.3. So if we want to sell the pepper and the tulum and the sugar cake and whatever it is, yes, I think we make some of the best sugar cake in the world. And we have the ingredients, we have the coconut and whatever. We have huge markets. We had done some of those agreements in our time. This government has not done one trade agreement. We need to go back and build on those so we'll have markets for the goods that we create. I see some eyes are opening big. It means that you are interested. It means that you believe that there is hope for Trinidad and Tobago. Once we can stay together, we have 2 major elections coming up. Those people will try every trick in the book to hold on to power. I ask you not to get fooled. Don't take the chain up again, and make sure that we choose the best option to move our country forward. We need a vision. We need a plan. We need a strong team to get the job done. I've shared some of these plans. We will continue to roll out plans with you. And above all, we will tell Mr. Rowling that a UNC government will ensure that citizens are safe in schools, at their homes, in communities, that they are healthy by providing first-class health care. We'll ensure that we create the jobs for you to get employment. this and much more we can do. I ask you tonight, will you join us? Will you join us to return stability to our country? Let us work together. And Mr. Rowley, you told the country you have the election date close to your chest. I repeat what I've been saying. Take the weight off your chest and call the election now. UNC and proud, UNC and proud. God bless you, and I thank you very much.
Bring down the power. The power of love, I say, is the greatest power. Stop hell and damnation. Bring down the power. Love to heal a nation is the greatest power.
Folks, there'll be a